get right, let's get right. Let's get right, let's get right. Let's get right, let's get right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dilla T. And this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me. Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come here, get comfortable. Get you something to eat. Get you something to drink. Get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Because you see the title, fam. Let's get into this here.
So, salute everybody for tapping on in. Ticket TV, like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate all of y'all that's in the building. And also, I want to shout out the people who support the channel, man. Salute to Deborah Hicks coming through with a $150 donation.
That's what we doing.
In the Cash App last night. I appreciate you for showing love, supporting the channel. Also, to my boy Xavier, salute to you with a $25 donation, man. I appreciate it, dog. And also, let me see, what's his nigga name? Mike Brown, salute to you for the donation. I appreciate you. You came through with a 50 piece on one of my basketball videos yesterday. Salute to you, brother. And shout out to my girl Jennifer Menzies. She sent a $15 donation this morning. Salute to her. Much love to her. Anyways, let's get right into it. Somebody in the comment section said, what career? What you mean, what career? Do you not know who Chris Tucker is? Chris Tucker does stand-up comedy. Chris Tucker was in line to do Rush Hour 4. You know how much money that is? Chris Tucker was running the biggest circles ever. What are you talking about, what career? What the hell is you guys talking about? Are people unaware of what's going on? Chris Tucker is not only an actor, he's a stand-up comedian, and he was set to get a bag to do Rush Hour 4. What the hell is wrong with these people? Oh, I didn't know that. Because you guys got to do research. Talking about what career? Y'all crazy? Chris Tucker is that. You still see Chris Tucker courtside at the games. Ain't no nigga sitting courtside at no games. What's wrong with these people? Lord hammer, I just can't tell y'all what some of our people are lacking, man, and slipping, man. They don't even know what's going on. Y'all think just because you ain't seen a person or his career over, no, Chris Tucker be doing stand-up. Chris Tucker still be he's still doing movies. Chris Tucker chooses not to do a lot of stuff. Chris Tucker got bread. And let's not get this twisted. He get money off all those other Rush Hour movies still. But anyways, though, man, you know, and I wonder when I read this story, why isn't they saying this about everybody else that was in those pictures? You know, you had people like Kevin Spacey, all these other dudes that was in Mickey Jagger and all these other people that was in those pictures in the Epstein files. Now, here's the thing. Everybody's in the Epstein files. You know, we don't know the extent of them or the context of them being in those files. They're in there for a reason, but we don't know why. Because you know why? Because Donald Trump's Department of Justice have redacted a lot of the information and haven't released a lot of it to give context into why these people are being shown in these different photos. Like this photo right here you see on your screen with Chris Tucker beside Bill Clinton. They got a lot of pictures of Chris Tucker and Bill Clinton. They got pictures of Chris Tucker and Ghislaine Maxwell. What was Chris Tucker doing around all these people? Like I told y'all, he did say a part in the movie, and this is how I believe that he got close to Clinton, is when he said that line about Chelsea Clinton. He was like, $100 million? Who the hell she thinks she is, Chelsea Clinton? And then after that, you seen him. Now you see him that he was hanging with Bill. This man had links to the President of the United States of America. Chris was a big dog in this thing. I mean, a lot of people, we didn't even know Chris was this deep in the game. Like, I didn't know Chris was this locked in. I'm just being honest with y'all. I didn't know Chris was this, connected. Remember Chris was doing all the Michael Jackson stuff, you know what I'm saying? And whatever. But Chris was locked in, right? So, anyways, according to the reports, Chris Tucker, man, bro, his Hollywood return has now been threatened. His career is in jeopardy. And I told y'all, they were setting to give that. Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, they had video recently, them two linked up. It was being reported that they was coming out with Rush Hour 4, which was supposed to be major. Now, according to the report, they try to shut. And here's my thing. It wasn't just Chris Tucker we saw in these pictures. And here's the thing. It's unfair because we don't know the extent of to why. Because you know why? Donald Trump's DOJ didn't unredact the paperwork so we could see the extent of why these people were in this setup. We didn't see it. Right? So that is something that's major. Major. Right? But we saw all those other people. We saw all those other people in these photos. But we're not hearing. Look at Kevin Spacey over there beside you. All these people was in these photos. But we're not hearing about them. You know what I'm saying? We're not hearing about them. But why was all these people in the Epstein photos? And see, this is the thing. To be in those Epstein files, like they said on the news, it had to be a reason each of these people were in these files. But my question to everybody is why was Chris Tucker, and what was his extent? Well then, because they said that, oh, we got to redact information because some of the people we may be investigating still or having investigations into or this, that, and the third. So they said that that's why they're redacting a lot of the paperwork to not expose future or potential investigations. No, let the people know what the hell's going on. People want to know. Because what y'all going to do is by y'all releasing this stuff and having people like Chris Tucker, having people like Michael Jackson, having people like Kevin Spacey, having people like, I forget the other dude's name, Mickey Jagger, having the people like all these other dudes they released that have been in these Epstein files. Now what you're doing is you're having people saying, oh, okay, well they knew this, they were down with this stuff allegedly. What that does is that muddies the waters, that dirties the game. You understand what I'm saying? Shout to Janelle coming through with a $100 donation this morning in the Cash App. She says, love your content ticket, keep working. No, I'm on it, baby. You already know what it is. So that's my point to everybody. My point is that, and I'm saying this because everybody needs to understand the point of what's going on. Hold on, who is this, man? Hold on a second, y'all. Everybody needs to understand the point. I'm on the phone.
Hit that like button, double tap that screen.
So, like, as I was saying, and I'm going to say it again, right? Right? Why are these people not being explained? Why?
Maya in the building. Julian in the building.
Why aren't these people being explained? Hold on. There needs to be explanations put out to the context of these people being in these files. It's only fair to the American people and to these people. Because I'm going to tell you something. If it wasn't important, why are they in the files? All of them. All of them. All of them. Kobe Brown says you need to mind your business. It's my business. Period. Know your role and shut your mouth. Get your ass out of my channel. What the hell is wrong with you? You better know who the hell I be. They put this on the news. It's my business. It's everybody's business. It's everybody's business to know what the hell is going on with who. We all want to know what the hell is going on with all these people. Because you know why? Because there was some devious, devilish things that was done to some of these young ones. And I'm going to stand on that forever and a day. That's why. So let the door hit you. I'm going to tell you to let the door hit you. Where the good Lord splits you on the way out. Get your ass out of here. The hell is wrong with you? So, as I said, everybody has different. We need to understand the context of why these people were being in these files. They got hundreds of thousands of files. They ain't even released them. They only released 10%, which is illegal. They're supposed to have released all of them. But they're talking about, oh, we're trying to redact the names to keep out victims and to keep out people that we're currently still investigating. Get out of here. The victims want everything to be exposed. I heard the victims on TV saying, we want all the information exposed. Why are they hiding information? They put out pages that you can't even read. They blacked out the whole pages. They blacked out so many photos. They're accused of deleting photos of one particular guy that's in the White House. I'm telling y'all what it is. So at least for Chris Tucker's fans, before they try to blackball this guy, let everybody know what was the purpose of him being in the files. Is he under investigation? Has he been under investigation for the last however many years? What the hell is going on? Because see, I'm gonna tell y'all something. It makes you think. Because look at that picture right there. You see Chris Tucker, Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison right now. But somebody else is in that picture, their face is cut out. Now they said the pictures that they put out, they cut out the faces because either these people were victims or they did not want to reveal their identities. Why is that? Look at that person on the right hand side of Chris Tucker. Who in the hell is that? That they didn't want you to see. Because see, I'm telling you something. They coming for this thing. I'm telling y'all this right now. And now, what we heard, because I have been hearing about Rush Hour 4. Now they're saying, I'm going to read the article to y'all. The article says, Chris Tucker faces backlash after appearing in newly released photos of Epstein, right? Threatening his Hollywood comeback plans. Now, Chris Tucker got caught in a massive scandal after the White House released thousands of Jeffrey Epstein documents, including some showing him posing with the convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell. It says, the Rush Hour star appeared in multiple photos released by the U.S. Department of Justice this past Friday. The photos show Chris Tucker standing with Maxwell and appearing in group shots, but the Justice Department provided no evidence of criminal behavior. Tucker hasn't publicly responded to the images, but fans are demanding answers. No way they got my boy Chris Tucker in these damn files, one user said, seeing Chris Tucker in the photos got me worried. Right? The document dump also included photos of other major celebrities who crossed paths with Epstein. Bill Clinton appeared extensively throughout the files, including images of him with Maxwell at London's Winston Churchill war rooms and relaxing in a hot tub. Music legends Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Mick Jagger also appeared in various photos with Epstein and Clinton. News anchor Walter Cronkite, entrepreneur Richard Branson, and Sarah Ferguson were among other noticeable figured pictures. Kevin Spacey was all up in there. The timing couldn't be worse for Chris Tucker's career comeback. He's been working to revive his Hollywood presence after years away from major films. Ice Cube had been pushing for Tucker to return as Smokey in a new Friday movie, marking his first appearance in the franchise since the original 1995 film. Multiple reports in November revealed Trump personally lobbied studio executives to revive the action comedy franchise that made Chris Tucker one of Hollywood's highest paid Hollywood actors in the late 90s. But now, Donald Trump's own administration released the Epstein files that could damage Chris Tucker's bankability. Tucker built his career on family-friendly comedies and action films that appealed to mainstream audiences. The Epstein connection threatens that wholesome image, especially as studios become more cautious about actors with controversial associations. But what about the directors that y'all got with these controversial associations? What about that? Let's talk about them all. Because see, when I saw this article about Chris Tucker, I'm like, damn, I knew this was going to happen. As soon as I seen Chris Tucker was in them damn files, I knew they was going to do this shit, bro. I knew they was coming with that. And to the person who say that, they ain't got you in these files for no reason. I don't care who you is. You ain't in these files for no reason. I don't give a damn who you is. look at Kevin Spacey, all this Bill Clinton. They ain't got these people in these files for no reason. They didn't pull up these files for no reason, bro. They didn't. They got all these people, Mick Jagger, Michael Jackson, Mickey Jagger. Look, they X'd out this girl's face. These are all people they say either were victims that they had X'd out. Make it make sense. And you see all these pictures, these people all in the same groups. What is this? And people tell me, well, I ain't convinced. That's the thing. They need to give Donald Trump's DOJ need to unredact everything so that the people can get, I don't give a damn what investigation they got going on. We need to know what the hell is going on. Because if some of these people we're celebrating and we're praising, if some of these people are involved in any of this foolishness, man, it's time to attack. But it ain't fair to Chris Tucker. And the fact that Chris Tucker haven't made a statement, a lot of people are upset about that. I mean, damn it, even Bill Clinton's people came out and made a statement. But I tell you one thing, if I had ever popped up in these, I'm coming out instantly, hey man, that had nothing to do with none of this shit, man. I don't know what the hell he had going on. This surprised me. Like, y'all not fit to do that to my name. But the fact that they got all these pictures and they didn't even show a lot of the pictures, y'all. Here's the thing. They still got 90% of the files they haven't even released. And these are just some of the pictures. And some of the pictures are so bad they couldn't show none of them. Who's in those pictures? Who's in those pictures? Everybody keeps talking about he did an interview and travel. You don't understand. That's not my point. The point is what is he doing around these people? That's the question everybody's asking. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about this. Why did they have to X that person's face out in the background? They said they were Xing out victims. They were redacting them in the photos and everything. See, the question is, it's going to be two things. It's going to be two questions people are going to ask. Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, all these people. Some people you can't ask because they're not here no more. But the questions they're going to ask him is two things. Did you commit any crimes? And here's the thing that also will get you in trouble. Did you have knowledge? See, I'm going to tell you something. If you had knowledge and did nothing, the people are going to count you just as bad. How in the blue hell did Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein get around all these people? Don't tell me Jeffrey Epstein was these people's financial advisor. Cap. Notice how they got these people in all these pictures. And they all linking them around Bill, Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell. That's what they doing. They got Bill Gates up here. That person's face X'd out. Bill Gates ain't said a word. Think about what I just said now. Think about what I just said now. They got pictures of Bill Clinton Xing his girl face out. We can't even see. Then they got Chris Tucker hanging around Bill and these people. I'm just trying to tell y'all, man. I only put my trust in God. That's it. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. Man will always let you down on this earth. To the person in the comment section who's asking questions, you just asked $1 million question. But here's the thing. You got to ask Donald J. Trump and his Department of Justice why they didn't release all the files. Why did they only release 10% of the files? Why? And out of that 10%, 5% was already released. There's 90% of the files that have not been released that were supposed to be released on Friday. And the files they did release, most of them said nothing. They were all blacked out. They were all blacked out. J and all these people have? Why were these pictures with Bill Clinton, Diana Ross, Michael Jackson? Why were all these pictures important?
Chris Tucker.
Why were all these pictures so important that they were included in the files? Why were all these pictures with your current president, Donald J. Trump? You gonna tell me y'all think that these people was around this guy and they all knew nothing? But a lot of them got from around him right before his trial hit. See, it's easy to come on here every single day and bang on Sean Diddy Combs and do video after video after video on Diddy. But it's hard when you out here buck dancing to get in the grind, to get in the mud and figure out what the hell is going on with all these people that's all up in the photos. Came to the party for the photos. Like I said, where's the morals in our country? You got a president that was caught on hot mic saying he liked to grab and pee, and everybody ignored that shit. People thinking about their pocket over accountability, leadership, and respectability. They're more worried about where their money goes than where the safety of our younger generation goes. Think about that shit. You gotta ask yourself, why are all these people in these files? Why? What is the importance of all these people in these files? The pieces somehow fit. But the problem is, we don't got all the pieces to the puzzle. You know how when you buy a new puzzle and it's got 1,000 pieces and you open the box and you put all the pieces on the floor and you start putting those pieces together. All those pieces create a big image, one big picture that tells the whole story. But without the other pieces, you can't completely tell the story. Why are they withholding major pieces? But like I said, the era we live in, we continue to make excuses and cap while a lot of people suffered and are not here anymore. Think about that. Your morality, your mentality, your self-dignity, your honor as a person have to come into play. It was pictures that I've seen in those files so far that was so bad it can never be put online on YouTube. But it hurt my spirit. But again, you have to ask yourself, we need explanations, because without explanations, people's minds can go anywhere. We need to know why all these different people were in these files. What was the point of them being collected in these files? Now they're saying that Chris Tucker's Hollywood career's comeback is in jeopardy. But Chris Tucker, I told y'all this, he had made it to the highest of the heights. This man was hanging around Bill Clinton all the time. And I told y'all, as soon as I saw those pictures of it, the first thing I thought about was Rush Hour when he said, "Who the hell you think this is, Chelsea Clinton?" That line had to have gotten Bill Clinton and said, "Yo, get me Chris on the phone right now. I gotta talk to him. He shouted out my daughter." I'm telling you, I know that's probably what happened. And then Chris probably got locked in with the highest levels of people. Because Because you have to ask yourself, how did he get locked in with Ghislaine Maxwell? And we haven't even seen all the photos. We haven't even seen all the photos. But for some reason, they keep showing Bill. You have a lot of these photos with the current president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. You had the woman that came out and made allegations. She claimed, she alleged that Epstein took her to Trump. Go look it up. All of this stuff is right there. That's why, and people came here, hey, Ticket Man, why you don't never vote? That's why. Because I don't trust none of them. At all. We don't trust you. Period. None of you. Because see, when you all was running around the same circles, because they always running around the same circles. We saw it. What did you know? How much did you know? And did you know anything? Because I'm going to say this before I leave. You may not understand the gravity of what I'm saying, but I want you to do something today, if you haven't done it. Because I could not put this on YouTube, I put it on my Twitter. And I want you to go look at my latest post on Twitter. At Ticket TV1. It's on the screen right now. That broke my spirit when I saw that. How demonic that picture was of that guy, man. Just go look at it. And you tell me. I got a soft spot in my heart for the young ones. I've helped them my entire life through basketball camps and stuff like that. And I'm going to tell y'all something. When the parents leave the young ones at the camps for the day and they go to work, they trust you. They trust you with their youth. You can never abuse that trust. And to see what I saw in those pictures that I couldn't even put on YouTube because even though it was blacked out some, you'll understand, man. As a people, you gotta have some type of morals and ethics all the way across the board, man. And I see some of these people, they only got selective energy. And I don't respect that shit. Like, share, subscribe. Hey, I really appreciate you guys for supporting the channel, supporting the network. Like, share, and subscribe. Once again, there are links. Get the free membership on our website. That way you guys won't miss any of our news update stories or videos. They're all on the website, ticketvmedia.com. You go over there, you can go right to the members part and become a free member. That way you guys get all the updates. Also, straight drop weight loss formula. Make sure y'all go tap in and copy some of that as well as subscribing to our podcast show. Link will be pinned at the top of the chat down there below. And also, we just appreciate all y'all who support the channel. Cash App, PayPal.
Man, let's get right now. Let me get right now. Don't get it twisted, man. Let them know what's going on. You in here with your boy, Dealatofficial, my fam. And this is No Filters. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, become a member today, subscribe for free. Notification bell should be on all. Let me tell you something right now. Chris Tucker, woo, you get cooked. It's crazy how the moment his face was in the files, you already know what it is right there. And even if that man was just there on GP and he just was in there just because, everything that has been associated with the files makes you guilty by association. Basically what it is, fam. And we just gonna cut it like it is. It ain't no thing, because again, if this was anybody else and they was just in the files, you would want to understand how was a black man named Chris Tucker that was in a Friday movie with Ice Cube on the block in the hood on a private plane with Epstein, Clinton, and all those that we just seen. It's a wrap, fam. Whatever comeback he coming with, I don't even know how that's happening. Because to be honest with you, see, this how you don't be knowing when you be knowing who tied in with who. This would tell you right there about knowing who tied in with who and how they get tied in. You get what I'm saying? So you got to understand. That brother, that's a black man right there. He done definitely been swimming with the sharks, crawling through the grass with the snakes, to get what he was, because ain't no way. Talk about he on a private plane with them animals, and then what they known for and what they made about. Man in the picture with the lady the most wanted that's in jail right now. Stop playing with me, man. The boy through. That means you been playing, because you know if you on the file list, you considered one of the sickest. Oh, Chris, I know you better get yourself together right now. Hit that double button, hit that like button right now. Double tap that screen, subscribe. Because this right here is what I'm talking about. Guilty by association, but yet he's going to try to make a case that everybody else did something but him. Be prepared for this. Let's go.
So, take a TV, like, share, and subscribe. Tap on in. Appreciate everybody pulling up, showing love to the channel, man. Much love, honor, and respect, man. David, salute to you. Coming through that cash app today. $100 donation, man. I appreciate you, dog. Much love to you.
You see the cash app?
Quick on this, just real quick about this situation.
Real quick, don't get it twisted. You see the cash app, you see the super chat. It's all love and support. That like button, get this channel to hit somebody that don't know that they can be saved, because we saving lives here at No Filters. Don't forget also, bam! You see the hoodies, $5 donation right there. $5 raffle. $5 raffle. $5 raffle for the hoodies, family. You can put your name in the raffle to win a No Filters classic $5 No Filters hoodie, family. Your choice of a color. Get your name on the back. Sponsored by your boy Dilla T. And sponsored by Savvy 4L. Nene Love Savvy 4L TV. Understand that's how we get it done here. You feel me, family? Make sure you hit that $5 raffle, or you can do the $2 raffle for the No Filters t-shirt, family, for you to win one woman, one male this week, this month, coming up, last Friday of the month, for you to win a No Filters hoodie or No Filters t-shirt classic raffle. So go on and get them in there, family. $5 or $2, so you can get your chance to win. You even get the Christmas edition, because you see the Christmas edition and it's hitting, and you see how they coming up when you see the Christmas edition. That's just one of them right there for you to hit it. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's go.
And let y'all know, based off of a video that I basically, I did earlier today. Ended up seeing a video from the homegirl, Ghislaine. And if you guys aren't subscribed to Ghislaine, man, she is an absolute beast when it comes to getting information, breaking down information, and processing information. Now, I came in here today and I told you guys about the report that was put out this morning. I don't know if y'all seen the video, but there's a report that's put out that says that Chris Tucker's, basically him being pulled up in these photos in these Epstein files, reportedly is basically threatening his Hollywood return. Now, for you guys who didn't know, a lot of people didn't know what was going on with Chris Tucker. Reportedly, and this story is explosive, man. Reportedly, Chris Tucker, he had been, they was lobbying to try to get him back on another Friday, They were lobbying, trying to get him back on there. And also, not only that, Chris Tucker, Rush Hour 4. But this thing goes deep, man. And I pray, Chris Tucker has not been accused, but I pray, man, that as more information comes out, I pray and I hope to God that Chris Tucker, I just pray for the brother, man, that he wasn't involved in some of these devilish things that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in, because it was rumored that Jeffrey Epstein actually, could have blackmailed some people, right? And so we look at the Epstein files and we try to realize, understand, why are all these photos and all these people in these files? What are the context of these people in these files? That's why I say it is very important to know the context of all of these different photos of these different people that are in these Jeffrey Epstein files. It is very important. Now, let me get to the point of this video tonight. As I told y'all, I did a video early this morning talking about the situation with Chris Tucker. Why? Because Chris Tucker had popped up in these photos in the Epstein files. He had popped up in that infamous photo with the woman who's in prison right now, Ghislaine Maxwell, doing 20 years in prison on sex charges. And you see that person's face is blacked out on the right and the left-hand side of Chris Tucker, right-hand side of your screen. And Chris Tucker apparently was on this flight. Now, I told you guys when we saw the photos of Chris Tucker with one former president of the United States, Bill Clinton, the first thing that came to my mind, the very first thing, was Chris Tucker's line in Rush Hour, where he said, Chelsea Clinton, $100 million. Who the hell do you think she is, Chelsea Clinton? And then I never knew Chris had gotten up this high in the ranks where he was hanging around, Bill and the president of the United States and all that stuff. And I was wondering, like, why are they coming off like Chris Tucker? All them other people's in the photos and stuff. And in the videos, Kadisha Lynn, boy, that girl is something special. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Chris Tucker is innocent unless something is proven otherwise, which we have not seen in any of these other people yet. But I tell y'all, everybody that's in these photos, that are in these Epstein files, were in this investigation for some reason or another. And it is important that we find out why they were in these files. You see Kevin Spacey, you see Michael Jackson, you see all of these people. People will say, hey man, it doesn't make any sense, like this, that, and the third. It all has to make sense. Because if we knew the scope of the investigation and we knew what was going on, we would know it would make sense. But I come to y'all tonight because Kadisha Lynn, she dropped a bomb and it completely caught me off guard, completely caught me off guard. And I want to touch on that right now. And that is this photo that she spoke about on her channel today. Now, this is a photo of Chris Tucker. And in this photo, one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims by the name of Shantae, she came out in a lawsuit. And basically, she spoke on this infamous trip to Africa. Now, Shantae Davis, or Davies, I should say, who was a confirmed Epstein accuser, who basically alleged repeated sexual abuse by Jeffrey Epstein. She served as a masseuse and as the air hostess on his private jet, the Lolita Express. Now, she personally recounted being on the September 2002 humanitarian trip to Africa. People, I said now, because I saw somebody on the news And somebody in the news said, forget the Epstein files. They said all the juicy details are in those lawsuits. She personally recounted being on the September 2002 humanitarian trip to Africa, organized for the Clinton Foundation to raise awareness about, you know what, and poverty. Now the trip included Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton, Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, Ghislaine Maxwell, and others. Now in interviews, she did one with The Sun and in the Netflix series, Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich. She described boarding the plane and seeing the guest arrive. She said it was Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, and Chris Tucker. Now she noted the trip felt surreal and like a dream opportunity at the time, though she later detailed ongoing abuse by Epstein before and after it. Now multiple sources, including photos from the trip released in the Epstein-related files, confirm her presence alongside Chris Tucker and others. Now, Chris Tucker wasn't personally accused. Neither was Bill Clinton or Spacey or any of those other guys. But they are in those files. As we saw these other pictures pop up with him and Clinton, and we saw him and Ghislaine Maxwell. Obviously, we saw Kevin Spacey in pictures with Bill Clinton. This thing was crazy. It was real crazy. We saw, again, Chris Tucker. And I don't know who that person is. They face blacked out. But then Khadijah Lynn said something else in her video that made me just fall out of my seat. And I did not know this until today. Donald Trump, the current president of the United States of America, reportedly is the one who pushed for Rush Hour 4 to be put out. He wanted Rush Hour 4 on the scene. Now, if you guys don't know anything about Rush Hour 4, Rush Hour 4, the Rush Hour series, I should say, the first ones, were directed by a man by the name of Brett Ratner. Now, Brett Ratner, who was a director and key producer of the Rush Hour trilogy from 1998 to 2007, is that producer that I'm referring to. And he's the one most associated with the franchise whose Hollywood career faced a major setback. Now, in 2017, during the Me Too movement, Brett Ratner was accused of sexual harassment and misconduct by multiple women, including actresses Olivia Munn and Natasha Henstridge, detailed in a Los Angeles Times report. Now, he strongly denied all allegations, and no criminal charges were filed against him. However, the fallout was severe. Warner Brothers severed ties with his production company, Rat Pat Entertainment. He was dropped by his own agency, and he effectively stepped away from major Hollywood directing and producing for years. But I have something for y'all. As of late this year, 2025, Brett Ratner is now making a comeback. he directed a documentary about none other than the wife of the current president of the United States of America, Melania Trump, released in theaters in January 2026 by Amazon MGM Studios. But wait, there's more. More controversially, Rush Hour 4, starring none other than Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, is moving forward with Brett Ratner attached to direct. Reports indicate that your current president, Donald J. Trump, personally lobbied Paramount via ties to owner David Ellison and his father, Larry Ellison, to greenlight and distribute the film, overcoming years of studio passing on this movie, I should say, Rush Hour 4, due to those allegations against the director of the Rush Hour series. Ladies and gentlemen, as I look at the Epstein files, and I look at all of these different photos that I see, that has to be asked the most is, what is the context of all of these people that are in these files? What is the purpose? Why is Chris Tucker in these files so much? What were the FBI investigating and Jeffrey Epstein that caused all these other people to be put into these files? That is a question that I think everyone has to answer, because if you think about it, they're redacting a lot of the information, which means that they're not putting out a lot of this information. See, I had a lot of questions. First of all, why was the current president of the United States of America, what do his pictures that were seen inside Epstein's drawer, why are they in the Epstein files? Jeffrey Epstein's brother came out and said that he told him that he had enough dirt on Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton to end that election. Also, what are the context of all these photos that have been released where people's faces have been blotted out? What is the context of this? Now, in one of the lawsuits, Shantae Davis, one of the girls that was pictured in this infamous photo, she spoke about how all these celebrities were around, and it seemed as if maybe Epstein would potentially have connections to the highest level of celebrities, and this would be how he could potentially draw people around. We don't know if that's true. We don't know if Chris Tucker or any of these other people that's in these photos did anything wrong, because they're not, or they haven't been accused. But what the people want to know is, why haven't all the photos been released? And why are the documents heavily redacted? What is in those FBI documents that would basically explaining these pictures because I told y'all, this is not a distraction. This is right on point, sister Top Shell in the chat. This is right on point. See, you got one of those puzzles and it's got 1,000 pieces, as I told y'all this morning. And you buy the puzzle, and you open the box, and you pull all the pieces out. If you're missing 50 out of the 1,000 pieces, if you're missing 200 out of the 1,000, if you're missing 300, 500, 800, if you're missing 950 out of the 1,000 pieces, you'll never understand the full context of the entire story. You need all the other pieces to properly tell this story, which is why the entire nation should demand that President Donald J. Trump have his Department of Justice release all of those files unredacted that only keeps out the names of those who are not of age and victims. Everything else should be put out in front of the world because the world deserves to know the explanation for all of these photos that are in this man's files, because it's not fair to Chris Tucker or anybody else that's in these files that's coming up in these pictures if there isn't full context put behind this. Because that girl said in her lawsuit that Chris Tucker and them was on that trip. Bill Clinton, all these other people, Kevin Spacey. She said that Africa trip. And she claimed she was abused on that trip by Jeffrey Epstein. See, did any of these people know any of these things that was going on? That is the main question. Because to our knowledge, they haven't been accused, but the FBI said something that made me think. They also put out there the Department of Justice that they were basically redacting files because they wanted to protect victims and also protect potential investigations, ongoing investigations they had into other people. So when you look at these pictures, all of these pictures that was in these Epstein files, they mean something. They got to mean something to be in those files. What did they mean? That is the $1 million question. But it blew my socks to think of everything that ran through my head when I was just wondering, what the hell is Chris Tucker? But then I thought about that line. I told y'all, he did right in Rush Hour. They had that girl for ransom, and he said, $100 million? Who the hell do you think she is? Chelsea Clinton? That had to make Bill happy. That had to make Bill say, yeah, man, go. And then you see in all these photos, Ghislaine Maxwell on it. Photos are going to be released. It's going to blow our minds. See, when they went on that island and they went in Epstein's place, you know how much content and material they probably got. Photos, files. And I've been reading a lot of these files and they're disgusting. Absolutely disgraceful. I'm gonna tell y'all something. For everybody who thinks this is a distraction, this is not a distraction. This is on point. The world deserves to know the truth about everything. The world deserves to know are the people that we've for years. Are their hands clean or dirty? We all deserve to know the full truth. It's just that simple. And all of the victims deserve to be able to have peace and knowing that there's a possibility that there can be real justice if there was anybody else outside of Epstein that was pulling these stunts. Because the pictures I seen,
hit that like button, double tap that screen right now. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, subscribe right now for free. You see what's going on, don't you? They try to act like it wasn't really real, but Chris Tucker in a picture with 4 white women. Hold up. You must have lost your mind thinking that's a good, comfortable picture. 4 white women looking that young, sitting in the picture with this black man. And you talking about y'all in Africa, and he in there with a bunch of white folk. You see the part that I'm tripping off of here? You think you ride with good people. You think you rolling with power. Until you find out that power blackmailing a black man. What? And then you find yourself trying to figure out, hold up. What did I really sign up for here? Because I'm going to tell you something right now. Two things. One, he could have not known how old they were. He just could have been along for the ride. And he just a celebrity taking pictures with people because he's a celebrity. He's an actor. That is a natural
it's funny how they try to call you during the stream. Got a phone call. It's funny how they always trying to call you during the stream. But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this again. Right? We need to get all the files. I don't think it's fair to Chris Tucker. I don't think it's fair to Michael Jackson. I don't think it's fair to anybody else that's in these pictures. If we don't understand Diana Ross, the list goes on. If we don't understand the full context of why they were in these FBI seized photos. What was this all about? See, I'm gonna tell y'all something.
Mona Thompson in the building. Where you been, fam?
This might be America's
Good
biggest,
to see you, Mona.
darkest secret. But to truly drain the swamp, to truly have full transparency, to truly build a nation on trust, honor, and respect.
Oh, but God. I heard
We have
you,
to
Mona.
clean our own shit
So
first.
good to see you. But like you said, but
You
God
have to be unafraid
truly been with you, been praying for your family.
of who may have to get exposed to clean it up. See, in your mind, we all have to understand that man can always let us down. And I know some of y'all have strong ties and strong links to certain political figures. You may be on one side of the fence, or you may be on the other.
Just been maintaining, Mona.
But the question is either one of them right? You got to take your personal feelings out of this. You can't praise celebrities in this. You can't uplift names in this. You have to be a person who truly seek the truth and justice for all of those poor people who were done dirty by Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and whoever the hell else was around them, may have participated or may have even known. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. I don't give a damn if you were just around and didn't do nothing. See, if you knew and you didn't do something to stop it, you just as bad. Now again, we don't know the full context, because out of the 100% of the files, Donald Trump's Department of Justice has only released 10%. They were supposed to release 100% on this past Friday. They only released 10%. And most of those files were all blacked out. Top to bottom, blacked out.
Hit that like button, double tap that screen, subscribe right now. Become a member today. It's all for free. It ain't no problem to do it. Let me tell you something. Guilty by association will always put you as guilty. Why? Because you was associated. That means you knew about it, but you ain't say nothing. You was a part of it, but you fell back. You said you ain't touching nobody, but you was looking around. You knew about it because you was in the party. You was standing there drinking juice and water, but you wasn't dancing with nobody. You knew about it, fam, and you ain't say nothing. Now that got Chris Tucker looking real bad out here. And you supposed to talk about a comeback that's going to happen regardless. See what I'm trying to tell you? Rush Hour 4 is coming. It's going to happen. This don't even matter. Because again, Donald Trump is in these pictures, redacted, allegedly. But look how much of that, and that boy got Donald Trump pictures in his drawer. First of all, this is office and his drawer. He got Donald Trump pictures in the first drawer in the office desk. And they gonna keep acting like that man ain't had nothing to do with nothing, ain't been around nothing, ain't been doing nothing. Boy, you better shut it up in here. Redacted, acted, whatever you want to play like. The point I'm making is this is just total evil.
Violate.
Let's go.
This is Democracy Watch. Mark, we have some breaking news here to kind of add fuel to the fire that is already this disastrous Epstein file release. It looks like the DOJ has rescinded, pulled back, deleted 16 files off their website that had been there yesterday. And again, I want to add that this was already on top of the fact that the DOJ had not released all of the files in compliance with the law. So what are the legal implications here of the fact that A, we didn't get the full breadth of files, and B, even some of the files that were released were then taken back, presumably to protect Donald Trump?
Okay, so let's talk about all the ways in which the Trump Department of Justice is violating federal law. And that's what they're doing, everyone. They are violating federal law, a law that Congress passed, signed by Donald Trump, that said, number one, the records have to be released within 30 days, all of them. Did we get all of the records on Friday? No. So that was violation of law number one. Number two, it said that it has to include all unclassified records, documents, communications, and investigative materials. Have you seen any investigative materials? Have you seen any memos between the FBI and prosecutors or between FBI agents and each other? No. That would be violation number two. Number three, it can only redact names under limited circumstances, for example, to protect victims. We saw, Brian, pages, dozens of pages upon dozens of pages in a row of redactions. Not just names of victims, but all kinds of things. And you know whose name we didn't see? We didn't see Donald Trump's. That's another violation. Also, the statute said that the records, that any redactions have to be accompanied, quote, by a written justification. Now, I know they're not big on like writing over there in the Department of Justice, but I didn't see any written explanation of each of these redactions. And then the most important one is that no record can be withheld, delayed, or redacted on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary. This, Brian, has turned into a total sham. This whole thing has been an effort to protect Donald Trump. They obviously didn't produce records, and they redacted his name from records are on. How do we know that? Because we have other sources of these records. We have gotten records from the House committee itself that it got from the estate that has Donald Trump's name. And so we know those haven't been produced. But then the cherry on top, the final violation of this law that Congress just passed, that the president signed, that Republicans piously lined up and said they wanted the truth to come out. On the cherry on top is that the Trump Justice Department has apparently now unpublished, has pulled back from the public, according to the Associated Press, 16 files, and at least some of them, it's pretty clear, were pulled back because somehow the North Korean censors that they had reviewing these records in the Department of Justice missed some photos of Donald Trump.
So I have to ask, because there was one thing in particular that really kind of incensed me, and that was this idea that in the law itself, it says that the only people that have to have their identities protected are victims or minors. It was written expressly that items could not be redacted simply because they would cause embarrassment to, for example, political figures. And then when the DOJ spoke with Fox News, they said that items were redacted expressly because people were either politically engaged or government officials. And so this is in direct violation of the letter of the law. How could they not only refuse to abide by the full law, which stated that all of the files had to be released, but then completely twist upside down what the law actually says, and basically where it says you can't do something, they expressly said that they will.
Yeah, they're just breaking the law. I mean, I just listed 5 ways in which the Trump Department of Justice is breaking the law. Yeah. So you've picked one of those 5, and it's probably the most serious of those 5. And let's be clear, what Fox News reported, or Fox News Digital reported, was that the redactions were applied to, quote, politically exposed individuals and government officials. What the fuck is a politically exposed individual? I mean, someone who's been exposed because they, for example, were close to Jeffrey Epstein. Like,
right, which is the whole point of the release of the Epstein files.
Correct. It's the whole point that the files are being released. And so they are not just twisting it. They're not just like turning it on its head. They are breaking it. They are knowingly and willfully violating a federal law that was passed specifically for this purpose just 30 some odd days ago by an overwhelmingly bipartisan vote, in which all the Republicans in Congress lined up and said, oh, look at us. We stand for the release of the full Epstein files. Donald Trump signed that, and now they're breaking it. And so here are the 2 questions, Brian, that everybody out there needs to be paying attention to. Number 1, will there be any accountability within the government? And of course, the answer to that is no, because Pam Bondi is a sycophant for Donald Trump. And Pam Bondi's Department of Justice is not going to look at itself. You know, no one's going to look at whether the White House played a role here. So that brings us to the second thing, which is where the hell is the corporate legacy media? You know, these people who say that what makes them better, enough said, what they say makes them better than the rest of us. The thing that they say they can do that nobody else can do is deep investigative reporting about public corruption by the highest echelons in government and cover-ups, right? The Washington Post, right? Democracy dies in darkness. These are the Woodward and Bernstein, legacy, journalists who are ferreting out all of the cover-ups in the highest echelons of government. Where the hell are they? Where are they? We're already, more than 24 hours into this, coming on 2 days into this, where they didn't release all the files, and where it was plain from the moment the first file was released that there were redactions that violated that. Now, look, credit to the Associated Press and, my team at Democracy Docket published the fact that these records have been pulled back. So kudos to the Associated Press that figured out it was 16 of them. But, you know, where is the rest? Where is the outrage? Why is this not leading the news on every major broadcast and the front page of every newspaper?
I want to use this opportunity, by the way, to highlight the fact that you have been covering this, even in the absence of legacy media doing its job. So highly recommend for anybody who's watching right now, if you want to stay up to date on what's happening, please subscribe to Democracy Docket. That's the news outlet Mark founded to focus on everything voting and elections and what's happening right now. So I'm going to put that link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. If you believe that Mark and his team's voices should be elevated, this is the best way to do it. Mark, it's worth asking here in terms of a remedy, because, you know, we understand that the Trump administration and the DOJ are going to violate the law every chance they get. And so in terms of seeking some remedy here, how do you achieve the full release of the Epstein files? How do you get some accountability when the people who have all of the ability to enforce the laws are the ones who are themselves violating it?
Right. So this is, of course, the great dilemma that we face right now, which is that you have a White House that is corrupt, that is controlling a Department of Justice that are just their puppets.
Yeah.
And so we can't look there. You know, I skipped over, and it shows you how just awful and terrible Mike Johnson and the House Republicans are, and John Thune and the Senate Republicans are, that I didn't even mention the possibility that they might grow a spine.
Right, because they just won't. It's that clear.
Right, because like the easiest thing would be for the House and the Senate leadership to sue the Trump administration, say, hey, we're Congress. We're entitled to these records, or issue subpoenas and hold people in contempt. You know, tell Pam Bondi she's to appear in the House or in the Senate for a deposition next week, you know, before Christmas. Like, you could imagine that happening, but that isn't going to happen, right? So that's off the table. DOJ's not going to do it. So it's ultimately up to us, right? It's up to you and me and other pro-democracy independent news outlets. It's up to those in the legacy media that have the spine in the backbone, like the Associated Press, to call this out. And ultimately, it's up to the viewers, like people like you who are watching this video, to use this to catalyze a pro-democracy movement for 2026. You know, we're on the eve of an election year, and the way in which this will change is through the ballot box. And yes, there are going to be a lot of obstacles. There's going to be a lot of misinformation. There's going to be a lot of efforts by Republicans to suppress the vote, probably engage in election subversion. But ultimately, we need you to be out there telling people about what is going on, because the legacy media is not doing its job. We need you to support people like Brian Tyler Cohen by subscribing to this channel and hitting the bell to make sure you are kept informed when he and I post new videos and others post, and he posts other new videos.
Shout out to them, because that's real. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. It's a real thing. Let's see why they over here arguing about redactions that ain't making no sense. Because at the end of the day, they know what they doing. Here we go.
Justice is somehow hiding or protecting information about him, which is completely false, as evidenced by the fact that the Epstein files existed for years and years and years, and you did not hear a peep out of a single Democrat for the past 4 years. And yet we're supposed to believe that, lo and behold, all of a sudden, out of the blue, Senator Schumer suddenly cares about the Epstein files. That's the hoax. And that's the hoax that has existed for months and months and months. This isn't about whether we would release or not release the Epstein files. As a general matter, we do not release the files of criminal investigations and prosecutions. Yeah. There's laws around that. There's laws that protect victims, that protect the innocent. So we're doing something here that is more transparent than we've done in any criminal investigation in the history of this country. Don't forget that.
In November, President Trump directed the Attorney General to investigate, speaking of investigations, high-profile Democrats with ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Is the Justice Department investigating only Democrats or everyone with a connection to Jeffrey Epstein?
So Jay Clayton, the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York, which is the office that had the most recent Epstein case, is investigating pursuant to the communication from President Trump. And by the way, this department will always investigate anybody and anything that we learn about sex trafficking or any victim of horrible sex crimes that takes place. As proof of that, the Attorney General, the Director of the FBI, we have charged and we are prosecuting more child predators just in the first 10 months of this administration than the entire 4 years of the Biden administration. So this idea that there's that we're protecting or doing something wrong when it comes to protecting victims is not true.
Well, in the directive, President Trump singled out former President Bill Clinton. Of course, a number of photos of President Clinton were released Friday. A Clinton spokesperson saying the White House hasn't been hiding these files for months, only to dump them late on a Friday to protect Bill Clinton. This is about shielding themselves from what comes next or from what they'll try and hide forever. Let me ask you bluntly, is President Clinton under investigation?
I will never talk about ongoing criminal investigations, so I'm not going to answer that question. But let me address the second part of the quote that you just gave us. Think about how patently absurd that position is. The idea that we have hundreds and hundreds of DOJ lawyers. These are not politicals. It's not me. It's not Attorney General Bondi looking at all of these files and determining whether they are responsive to the act. And we over-collected, by the way. We went out to all of our components and we said, give us any document that you think in any way, shape, or form is connected to the Epstein case. And that's what we're going through. So the idea that we are hiding something, or there's something that we have hidden under a rock around President Trump or other Republicans is not only false, but it's obviously false for anybody that's intelligent enough to think about what we're doing.
Let me just put a fine point on this. Will the Justice Department bring any new charges against anyone based on the contents of these files?
We have continued to investigate anybody associated with Jeffrey Epstein for years and years. We discussed this in our July memo, and we continue. So the answer is, I don't know when there'll be additional prosecutions. Based on the information that we had in July, based on the information that I'm aware of now, we are not prepared to bring charges against anybody, but we are learning new information all the time. We learned the names of additional victims as recently as Wednesday of this week. Okay, so there's new names that we didn't have before that we ran across our database to understand whether they had ever met with law enforcement or ever talked to the FBI. And so we're always investigating. And so it would be premature and not fair for me to unilaterally say yes or no to what future prosecutions there may be.
Okay, Mr. Blanche, you talk about the reaction from Capitol Hill. Let me allow you to respond to some of it. Congressman Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, the authors of the Epstein bill, say the partial release of files failed to comply with the law. They say they are considering looking into the possibility of impeachment proceedings, contempt, even criminal referrals for obstruction of justice for DOJ officials. Do you take these threats seriously?
Not even a little bit. Bring it on. We are doing everything we're supposed to be doing to comply with this statute. And Congressman Massey and these other congressmen that are coming out speaking negatively about Director Patel and the Attorney General have no idea what they're talking about. They know the work that we're going through. They know what we're doing to protect victims. I mean, just think about what we're doing. You're talking about 1 million or so pages of documents. Virtually all of them contain victim information. So listen, the idea that Attorney General Bondi would ever let a single piece of paper go out of this department that contains victim information is something they know we won't do. And the fact that they're threatening to impeach her for protecting victims is a reflection of where their head's at. It's not a reflection of this department. We are complying with the statute. We will continue to comply with the statute. And if by complying with the statute, we don't produce everything on Friday, we produce things next week and the week after, that's still compliance with the statute. There is well-settled law, as they should know, that in a case like this, where we're required to produce within a certain amount of time, but also comply with other laws like redacting information, that very much trumps, redacting information very much trumps some deadline in the statute.
All right, couple more and we're almost out of time. I do want to ask you about Ghislaine Maxwell, who was, of course, convicted in 2021 for her role in helping Jeffrey Epstein traffic his victims. In July, you interviewed her in Florida, where she was serving a 20-year sentence in federal prison. Just a week later, Maxwell...
I mean, this is almost stupid because when they double tap that screen, hit that like button real quick for me, family, it's free. It's funny because this is the same guy that had met with Ghislaine Maxwell privately and talked about, allegedly, if you say this and you say that, Donald Trump gonna do this and do that. And then all of a sudden she acted like she didn't know nothing and Trump wasn't involved. And then all of a sudden they move her from one prison to an upscale prison where she's eating steak dinners and having walking dogs and having umbrellas by her side while she come outside. So clearly this man right here, this man went to see Ghislaine Maxwell in jail and told her what was up, and she changed her whole story. And then they transferred her to an upscale prison for her liking. Just like the movies, and the movies just like reality. Just like the movies. Somebody on the inside know dirt about the president, and then they come meet with you. First of all, they get rid of the actual... Think about this for a second, man. Jeffrey Epstein said, and his brother said, that they had enough dirt to put Trump in the ground. That's what he said on the call. And then this man got photos of this man in his desk. And then all of a sudden that man come up unalive in a prison. And then Ghislaine Maxwell, his right-hand girlfriend, in a prison threatening to tell the world about Trump. And then all of a sudden this man go meets with her, gives her a deal, changes her whole story, and moves her to another prison. If this ain't the most blatant cover up in our face, and the funny part is, none of these, all the political people are pussy. They Kit Kat. They kitty cats. All of them. Scared of Trump, scared of whatever, keep threatening an impeachment. But how y'all not standing up for us, fam? The people. Our kids, us, all of us. Y'all scared, ain't saying nothing. Y'all acting like y'all finna impeach somebody. Y'all acting like y'all finna take them to judge, to court. We watching on TV every day. People stand. You know that court channel? You know the channel, the White House channel? Where they sitting there, the cameras on, watching people in the White House every day. They just sitting there watching them. Just watching the White House. Watching Democrats go against Republicans every day, all day. They in there talking about impeachment, but ain't nobody impeached nobody. They in there threatening, talking about he bombed some country months ago. Go back to my live and see when we talked about that. The man bombed somebody, didn't even say nothing, didn't ask for permission, didn't do nothing. Just went over there and said, hey, forget it, just do it. They talked about impeaching him then because he broke the law. Ain't nobody do nothing. That man this man then talked about touching, he grabbing people's groins, Bill Clinton right in front of folks' face, groping chicks, all of that, telling you what it is and what it ain't. They ain't impeached nobody. Now we got the files out. We got pages and pages that's black. We got pages that's got certain black marks on it. But you got pages that's fully black, redacted. Why is the entire page black? See, it's different. You can redact a box, a word, a picture. They redact the whole entire page. And it's multiple. So you can't tell me that Trump and all of those pictures with all of them people, he not in them pictures that's been redacted, full page redactions. You can't tell me that. You can't bet money on that he's not. Allegedly. And it's sad because this man has to protect him to keep his job. So he sounds stupid. He talking all tough and he got all that mouth when he acting like he's saying something that makes sense, that they actually did something. Talking about ain't no deadline on redacting stuff because we still looking into it. See, he talking too much because he just said that they've been looking into people for years. And then y'all telling me we see the files and we know who should be convicted. We know who should be charged. But y'all been looking in this for years. Then he's talking about, oh, the Democrats didn't care about it then, but why they all of a sudden care now? Fool, because it's... You know why they care now. And y'all so stupid because y'all the dummies that's Trump and them said, release the files. That was his whole campaign. His whole campaign was based on releasing the Epstein files for the people. And people put him in the White House and he lied right to y'all face. He redacted, cleaned them up, took his name out of everything. You don't see Trump name in nothing. So again, just lies right in your face. Continued lies in your face. And nobody to stand up for this. No internal affairs, no NSA, no Homeland Security, nothing. Nobody. This ain't even funny, fam. This so serious because you living in a world where you can't do nothing about it. Your president can just lie to your face and you got to line up with it and you can't do nothing about it. Even when we know who wrong and who bad, can't do nothing about it. And we finna sit here and talk about Chris Tucker and boil him when we talking about the #1 man, Trump, should be locked up, key thrown away. And we amp about some Chris Tucker. It's sad, man. Because if the president can move like that and can't do nothing about it, then what's the point of the White House? What's the point of people voting? Because everybody really think voting matter. It don't. They put that man in office and they knew what he was before he got in office. They put him in there for a reason. So stop sitting here thinking that voting matter. Voting do not matter. Stupid. And you dumb for thinking it did. Just dumb thinking voting matters. You what? You really thought voting mattered. It ain't never mattered. And even when you thought it mattered, it still didn't. The last time I knew voting didn't matter was when Bush was in office and he override Al Gore. That was a full-fledged lie. Al Gore won and they went and said, tell the people Bush won. And they right in front of our face took the presidency and nobody did nothing about it. It's the first time I ever witnessed the White House robbed, the presidency robbed right in front of our face. And the fact that they did that and nobody did nothing about it. That's how I told you they knew who they wanted in office so he can introduce 9/11, Homeland Security, and the new word terrorist. So I'm trying to tell y'all, fam, they have meetings behind closed doors that speak about, man, hit that like button, double tap that screen. Hit that like button, double tap that screen right now. Hold up, I'm talking a lot. Hit that like button, double tap that screen right now. Become a member today, right now. Subscribe right now. You see the Cash App. You see the Cash App. You see the Cash App. $1, $2, $3, $4, it don't matter. You see the Cash App. Hit that double tap that screen. Hit that like button right now. Hit that like button right now. Yeah, Al Gore was running for president against George Bush. He won. George Bush, they announced that George won. In that moment right there, you should have known everything was finna go down. And that's when 9/11 happened. Dick Cheney ended up shooting that guy in the middle of the woods, acting like that was an accident that was on purpose. Stop playing. They introduced terrorists. They went to war with Bin Laden, and they was acting like they was looking for a Saudi Arabian guy, the guy that's over Bin Laden. You know who I'm talking about, Saddam Hussein, yeah. They said they was looking for him. So they over there got 1 million people fighting a war that was false, that was off of nothing, all because of something that was made up that they had created from 9/11. Had all these people and all that intact. And the fact that they was invested in a group called the Carlyle Group. Let me say that again for some people that don't know nothing. George Bush and them all was invested in the Carlyle Group. The Carlyle Group was a company invested in the military defense. Let me say it again. The Carlyle Group was invested in military defense. Basically, if you and me, Chris, Lori, all of us is invested in the Carlyle Group and we invested in military defense, clearly we would want to go to war every day for the rest of our lives so we can make money off of the military defense. That is the full point. So if we are invested in the Carlyle Group and in the military defense, and that's the war, we're going to go to war. So we can make money off of who? Military defense. Why? Because we are invested in military defense. Duh. But people didn't know that. Did you? Understand people's position and the decisions that they're making and why they're making them. Let me say that again. Understand people's position and the position that they're in and the decisions that they make and why they're making them. If all of you knew that George Bush was invested in the Carlyle Group, and that is the sole reason about war and why we went to war for nothing back then around 9/11 times with bin Laden, you would have realized how much anarchy and chaos it would have been in these streets for real. And the fact that you didn't even know that, now that you do know that, you realize why they choose who they want in office to carry on the agenda that they have already drawn out. That is the sole reason why Trump, Donald Trump, your president, is not getting in trouble for nothing. And not getting in trouble no time soon for nothing. He is there to implement a stage on the global world. And these things are being implemented one by one in office, and nobody is there to stop him. He's walking around and don't feel threatened at all. He can continue to break the law. He can continue to be in the Epstein files. That man talking about, I knew him, I threw him out of my club, I didn't care about him. Okay, cool. But that don't mean you wasn't on the island. That don't mean you wasn't over there kicking it with him. And don't play with me. Donald Trump, you a billionaire. You was over there on that island with other billionaires. It wasn't just no Clinton. And stop playing. Ain't no way if Clinton there, Russian people there, Soviet Union people there, rock stars there, actors are there. You telling me, Trump, you was neither nor one of them. You was just a billionaire real estate agent and a gangster of New York that walk around and just get money. Don't tell me that the likes of you was not on the island kicking it with your own house on his. I'm willing to bet times a billion that Trump probably had his own house on that man island. You hear me? Stop playing up in here. See, we read in between the lines here, no filters. We hear that inform, understand, and be aware that if it walk like a, talk like a, we know it's a duck. And that is definitely duck activity at its quacking finest. So don't sit up in here and play them games like that. I'm willing to bet that boy had a house, cars, everything on his island. Hold up, man, hold up. Y'all ain't hear what I said. Epstein had a whole island to himself. That means that's his island. That means everything on the island his. What? Unless you coming to buy some land or some sections of it, it's all his. So when you go to the donut shop, to the hotel, back to the tire shop, to the restaurants, it's all his. So don't sit up here and play games like, and we talking about Bill Clinton over there kicking it. He just over there kicking it. Don't tell me there ain't no Trump there. Is Bill over there having that much fun? Then they start talking about other names. Then they start bringing out the Oprahs of the world. The Jay-Z's, the Beyoncé's of the world. You seen Chris Tucker over there, so don't play no games like ain't been no black folk and no white folk up in there. Because there's been all type of folk in there, every color folk up in there. But you got the nerve to sit here and press Chris Tucker. No, we need to be pressing Donald Trump. And we need to press until we press on to somebody say that man was over there. But you know what? If they ever give in, and never gave in, you're going to find out towards the end of the elections, the end of his term. Why? Because he's going to be going right out the door. Because in my head, there is no way he gonna be running for president again. And there is no way that he will even be accepted to be in nobody's term or running mate moving forward. Because like I said again, if Donald Trump try to become president again, he's only got one way to do it. And that's to become the vice president and let J.D. Vance run as president. And in that moment only, when J.D. Vance becomes president of the United States and Donald Trump is his vice president, all J.D. Vance got to do is step down as president of the United States and give Donald Trump the presidency once again. That is how it works. That is how you get another term of presidency. And I bet you didn't even know that. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Like and subscribe right now, family. You welcome for that. See, like I told you, once you pull up with Dilla T here at No Filters, you're gonna learn something. We're here to save your life. We're here to read in between the line. We're here to inform, understand, and be aware. We're here to bring light to darkness. There ain't no way you would not know what's going on if you ain't tapped in to become a member right now. You understand me? It's only one way to do it, and it's one way to do it right here, right now with family here. Let's keep going.
Was moved to a more permissive prison camp in Texas. Why was she moved just days after you interviewed her, Mr. Blanche?
So that's a Bureau of Prison Security issue that I will not talk about.
Did you have anything to do with it? Did you have anything?
You see that? Anytime they are questioned about the secrecy, the corruptness, the lies, they said that is a serious matter. I will not discuss that. So you see, when the lies is put in your face and the foolery is right there to be fun, they are literally bringing up things, reasons why they acting like they can't discuss it. Because that is a great question. Why did, after you meet with that girl at that prison, after her threatening to tell people about Trump and the Epstein files, he met with the girl, had a conversation, and then all of a sudden moved her to a new prison, and she changed her whole story. And this is his response.
So that's a Bureau of Prison Security issue that I will not talk about.
Did you have anything to do with it? Did you have anything to do with it?
Let me finish. First of all, I am responsible for the Bureau of Prisons. So every decision that they make lands on my desk to the extent it needs to. But just let me talk about the security issue. At the time that I met Ms. Maxwell, there was a tremendous amount of scrutiny and publicity towards her. And the institution she was in, she was suffering numerous threats against her life. So the BOP is not only responsible for putting people in jail and making sure they stay in jail, but also for their safety. And so she was moved. She is in federal prison. She was in federal prison before. She's in federal prison now. She's doing 20 years because she was convicted. And the fact that she might be moved to another institution tomorrow if security requires it. And that's true of any federal inmate across this country.
But as you know, survivors were outraged by all of this, especially the fact that she was moved. Why talk to Ghislaine Maxwell and not the survivors, Mr. Blanche?
What you just said is completely false. We will talk to any survivor at any time, which is something that we
have you
but
talked
they
to
haven't.
Day one.
Then have you talked to them?
Of course. The attorney, yes, the attorney,
When?
first of all, they have to want to speak with us. The Attorney General and I spoke with the Victims' Rights Group as recently as Thursday, okay? And if folks want to talk to us next week or the week after or in the coming months, they know how to get a hold of us, and we will always talk to survivors and victims' families. But just backing up to your question about Ms. Maxwell, nobody ever talked to her. Nobody ever asked her questions about what she knew.
See, this how you know he lying extra again. He's like, we'll talk to any survivors or anybody that wants to talk. But first, they got to want to talk to us. So that's how you know he lying. Basically, they didn't talk to no survivors. This is how you weave out somebody's line. Because if he was to talk to him, why would he mention they got to want to talk to us first? Lets you know they didn't want to talk because they don't trust them. Why? Because all of the survivors are calling out Donald Trump's name. Period. So they seeing that clearly. I'm telling you, that man right there did this and that to me, and y'all not doing nothing about it, and we telling y'all they did that. But if we tell y'all Bill Clinton, Swayze, Chris Tucker, Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, this guy, that guy, Epstein, Maxwell, y'all gonna look into all of them in 2 seconds. But you got facts of pictures. You got people's facts of being in this man club, Mar-a-Lago, being everywhere with this man. They know what his back look like. You get what I'm telling you? And they like, oh, okay, we'll talk to you later. Oh, okay, we'll look into it. Oh, okay, we ain't really tripping off that. Come on, fam. Come on, fam. And every time he responds, you know he's lying. See, this is what makes people in the world want to get active and go do something. Because when you sit back and watch them lie to your face like that, people in power like this man just lying to your face, public TV. Just look at this dude, man, just lying. This man right here just lying in your face. And he in Washington, D.C., and you got people down the street just looking like, I can't believe this man just lying. Donald Trump can say he don't care about him right now and get rid of him right now. And he could be out on the street somewhere. And all he got to do is just say, hey, I'm threatening to tell everybody what I know. That's how you know everything be corrupt. Because when people get thrown out or something happens, they start to threat to tell the public things that the public know, that they know behind closed doors. That's how you know corruption. But this man is lying in your face, literally. And every time he responds with guilt. He responds with trying to act like he's trying to make sense of a lie. See, when people try to make sense of a lie, you can see all of the facial expressions they put into it, and then they try to seek small windows to open. You understand? People that try to blow up a lie, they try to seek small windows to open and try to go through them just to open it up even more and really put it in your brain, that seed. But that's how you know that's a lie. Because the energy he's bringing, he is blaming everything on law. He's blaming everything on security. He's blaming everything on, hey, I can't share that information with you because it's too sensitive. Why? Because national security. So this is what I mean by us, the people, having to stand up. Because at some point, we all going to have to stand up and make a move. Because they literally doing blatant lies, blatant everything. People are able to do what they want. And if y'all gonna really keep it 100 and real, if they were smart, they would have to figure out how to get Trump out there and show us that they're not gonna allow people like Trump to just bend and break the law at his leisure, and they'll still have to answer to nobody. When the people sitting back and going through it, and now we over here looking like, wow. So y'all letting people like this do what they want. The rich and famous can just do the sickest things to the worst people, to innocent people, innocent youngins. And yet we got to sit back and let it happen because y'all protecting it. And these same people got kids. This guy right here got kids. This guy right here got kids. These guys right here got kids. You working on the side of somebody you know that could do your kids dirty out here. And you working on the side of this guy? Like you don't feel nothing? You were that bad? Matter more than your kids? The nerve of a monster, or the nerve of the sickest people like this that's willing to do that to keep their job. Willing to do that just to keep their job. So don't get it twisted, fam. We're going to keep following this thing down this rabbit hole. Because I'm going to tell you something again. It's more to come. It's more being unleashed. And it's more for us to decipher right here with fam at No Filters. But you know, regardless, as always, fam, you know what it is Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. right here with your boy Dilla T and my family here at No Filters. Making sure that we keep it real, reading through the headlines and reading in between the lines to let you know that we here to inform, understand, and be aware that if it walk like a duck, quack like a duck, we know it's a duck. And right now it's duck activity. As always, fam, truly appreciate you all tuning in, making sure that you and your family coming in with a friend, making sure you're hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and sharing this with the world. Making sure that family, if they don't know, they need to know. Coming by, making sure that you're tapping in. You see the cash app, you see the super chat, you see the stickers, you see the support. It don't cost nothing to support. It don't cost nothing to show love, and it dang sure don't cost nothing to pull up with your boy Dilla T right here at No Filters. As always, family, making sure you taking care of your family, making sure y'all being safe, man. Always make sure you lock your doors, making sure that you're keeping your ears, your eyes on, and making sure that we being aware, that we making sure that when we come in, we get us something to drink, we get us something to eat, we get us something to smoke, if that's what you do. Because you see the title. It's your boy Dilla T and my fam. And this is No Filters. Good night, family. Y'all be safe. God bless.